Debate, Uncut, and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tool and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Amish, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, Effie Patriot, Steve, On the Level, Thomas van der Zander, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, No Smart Comments, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name Spurley, Todd Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMelts24, Unamento, M Iron26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon are below this video. And with that, I'll hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
I really appreciate all that you do. And it's really been a pleasure learning from you and listening to your show.
Oh, thank you. I'm flattered. Yeah, there'll definitely be a Christmas show, either on the main or the second channel. So what I've done is one of the shows I intentionally did a very, very long recording, allowed arguments to run their course and things of that nature. And it'll run Christmas for 12 hours on the main channel, then 12 hours on the second channel, repeated. So there'll always be a live stream, as in there's a live chat running, so you can at least interact with people who are watching the stream and say hello. But
that'll be nice.
What I'm debating about doing is whether or not I'll do a show tomorrow, which is Christmas Eve. So as I am around, I may as well do a show. I'll clear it with the wife. see how we get on.
I know how that goes.
It's a working day, so there's no reason why I shouldn't do a show. She's booked a day off, but that's like, well, you've had to book a day off, haven't you? In other words, there's other people at your place of business that are doing work on that day, Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I'll be on call for the night shift at the hospital for Christmas Day.
Exactly. So
and Christmas Eve.
On call's different, though. I'm talking about Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is just a normal day for most people. Anyway, I may or may not run a live stream. We'll see.
Hey, you deserve a break, too. I'm sure your wife and kids would appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. We both work from home, so when you say have a break, we both quite enjoy what we do and live quite a happy life anyway. So you say we need a break. Well, maybe.
Yeah, I always found it really interesting when you talked about how you were pretty well off with the lucrative gig, but it was important to you to spend time with your family, and that's why you made the decision, to go with your passion. So kudos to that.
Indeed. Hey, Neil.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Neil? I've been listening since 2021. Never had a chance to actually come in live because of my schedule, but wanted to say hi to you. It's nice to talk to you finally.
Who's this?
I go by Ancient Traveler.
I didn't get that. Come again?
I go by Ancient Traveler.
Ancient Traveler. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Just counting down the end of my night shift. The only reason I'm able to pop in live now. Normally I'm asleep right now.
All right, it's good to have you.
Appreciate that.
We're just talking about whether or not I'll have a show tomorrow, Neil, if I do a Christmas Eve show.
I think you should, even a short one. Up to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I won't do a great big long Uncut and after show, but I'll maybe do 5-minute intro live stream for half an hour, and then just end. And that'll be it.
Perfect.
How's your back, Neil?
Still not in good shape.
Getting better though? You're doing some physical therapy and stuff?
Well, the therapy I do on my own now, but yeah, it's fine. It feels like if I
make sure
move
you do.
around, I'm loose. If I don't, I'm tight. Then when I move around too much, it gets too tight. It's just pain. It's freaking pain.
Yeah, that's horrible. No, it's tough. That's a critical component to your healing. So just make sure you do that every day at home.
You hear that, Neil?
It's we broke up a little bit.
Oh, I was saying that to make sure to do your physical therapy at home, it's going to be a critical component to your healing.
Yeah, that's the only place I do it. No, I can't work.
He's not saying the location. He's saying make sure you do it, as in regularly and fastidiously, and even when it feels like you don't want to do it. I think is what his point is, as opposed to where you're doing it.
Oh, I have to.
Exactly.
I can't move if I don't.
Yeah, exactly. You can't improve if you don't. Exactly. That's his point.
Improve. I can't even move if I don't. If I don't start moving, I can't move at all. So that's how I start today. Anyway, enough of me. What about that freaking ballbuster show? That guy, how does he get? I listened to it again yesterday. How do you get away with talking about such nonsense that you can't validate at all?
What? Be more specific.
Model
Now.
boy.
I didn't catch it.
It's Neil being vague with its and he's and theys. We don't know what he's talking about.
What were we doing Saturday? We were talking, I don't know his name, Havey, whatever his name is, model boy with his superfluid feelings.
Yeah.
How did that X show go, Nathan?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I love the politics shows.
Yeah, it's
Because when
an
I first
really.
started listening to you, I never, there were lots of people debating, but it just died out as soon as you started measuring their flags. They don't have any arguments. No one's coming in. But for some reason in politics, people have the balls to come in and argue.
Same on X. They don't know any better. They come in. Yeah, it went fine. Watch it if you remember. It's out now, if you remember. Or obviously, people may have watched it on X. I don't really know how it works, but I specifically told AI, look, send me a link and I'll see what I can do. I figured out what time they were actually broadcasting, and then I just fathomed my way through the link that I'd sent. Eventually, I was in there. Audio is a bit crummy, but other than that, it was all right. What I thought was quite clever is it just worked on the browser. So without having to do any setup in my desk and assign it a channel, like assign that piece of software, a line. So my Discord line is a line, and my G Plus line is a line, and my Skype line is a line, and my mic line is a line, and my PC is a line. Well, X just came through as though it was a PC piece of software. Like if you just went into a browser and played a video, it would come through that line. But it worked. It still seemed to pass back and forth my audio. Now, while I didn't test it with G Plus, I would naturally assume that it would function quite happily in that way. It just seemed to double track the audio, and it didn't do it automatically. It did it after a minute or two, and I left and came back to see if I could figure out why it was doing it. I couldn't figure it out. But other than it double tracking the audio with a maybe 2 or 3 millisecond delay, it was listenable. It wasn't so egregious that I was like, "Oh, I better stop this recording. It's awful." Like people will get used to slight double tracked audio. They can cope. So other than that, it's good. And clever. The fact that it worked at all in that manner was quite clever, I thought. So while they were all criticising it, going, "Oh, it's not very good," it's like, well, I've just joined via a browser, like I'm going into Twitter, and it's just working. We're talking to each other, right? And they're like, "Yeah, but you can only have 2 or 3 people up as a host and a co-host." And I'm like, still works. We're talking to each other. Discord generally requires some setup. Now, it works better. It's more functional and complex and, expansive in terms of how it works. But with Discord, I have to go in. I'd have to manually assign it a line on my audio desk, manually assign it an output, check they work, check that I've not got too many inputs going into that channel, so the return signal doesn't go in a big loop. And once all that's set up, Discord will work fine, great. I didn't do any of that with X. Just clicked on it and it worked. I could talk to other people in it. Anyway.
Good morning, ladies and gents.
Hello, J.E.
Good morning.
Yeah, I may go back again. We'll see how that works out. Only like they had 50 or 60 people watching, and then I happened to go back to see if I had missed anything in terms of audio setup to improve things. And when I went in, it suggested that there was a total of 500, 600 people that had watched that stream. How long they were streaming for. So, cool. Very good. It does kind of feel like I haven't had any time off over the weekend. Like I haven't stopped. And because of the TFE thing, I worked all through last weekend. It does kind of feel like I haven't stopped for about maybe 10 or 12 days. Or longer. Maybe 14 days. Anyway.
I watched a little video by Jaron. I guess his last video leaving Antarctica. Oh, he sounds so bitter and angry.
What about?
Just about everything. The place, called it a godforsaken place. Just complained about everything. People calling him a shill. I guess he's responding to people and that have left messages or contacted him. Right at Master V if you want to listen for a couple of minutes.
Not really.
I find I find it so suspicious, though, that all these guys like David Weiss and Jaron, and they just won't talk about the hard-hitting arguments, about how it's measured flat. They just avoid that. Drives me nuts.
Well, it would seem that they were all poisoned internally against us by Bob Nodell. Morgile did a little stream a couple of days ago, spilling the beans of the internal discussions and workings of Globebusters. And there were certain arguments that they were precluded from doing, and the general directionality of what occurred was at Bob's behest, and he coerced what they were doing in a particular direction, some of it very shilly. So as an example, there were certain things that he was appealing to from NASA satellites that Morgile was saying, well, what are you talking about? Why are you referencing this non-existent information? Now, while he didn't preface that argument with our argument of there being no gas pressure, his justification for objection in that regard is understood regardless of his reasoning to Bob not being the same as ours, at the time at least. Right, may lie now, who knows, who cares? The point is that it was like ignored, shut down, and generally it sounds like Morgile got the shitty end of a stick that he thought was quite a pleasant stick to be holding on to at the time he started grasping for it. So him explaining how Globebusters had been functioning while he was a part of it is quite interesting, to say the least. So yeah, that group were being poisoned against us and what we did and our arguments. Now, the specific example he was giving was celestial navigation. He was saying, as I was looking into this, I was starting to get a grasp of it, but didn't fully understand it, put it to Jaron, and it was poo-pooed entirely. Okay? But Morgile's suspicions were that he did understand the argument, he just didn't want it propagated. Like, that's interesting. So, okay, if he's moaning about being called a shill, don't behave like a shill. Don't censor the information that's going out on your own platform and tailor it towards an audience that will believe in the bullshit narrative of sky vacuum-based data. It's like, what? Okay, well, that's what's happened. That's what he's been a part of. Now he's part of a false dichotomy, and he's helping. It's like, don't want to be called a shill, don't behave like a shill.
The only things I can think of is either one, they just don't want you to get any credit, that they're that upset with you, or they just don't want people to know it's flat.
Yeah, both very negative for us when we're telling people our Earth's flat, and they're telling people we're not trustworthy, we're the shills, we're the grifters, we're the scammers. When what is it that we're attempting to do with them whenever I've approached Jaron? Is it because I want to tell him not to call me a grifter? No, it's because I want to educate him in what science is. Is it because I want to tell him that I'm not a scammer? No, it's because I want to educate him in what elevation angles are. You're like... Now,
Exactly.
It wasn't obvious to the audience up until now because everyone thought Jaron and Witsit were heroes. Now they're all like, what? They're not being held up as heroes? Well, let's have a little look. Oh, yeah, they're shills. You're like, okay. So all bets are off for them, and they don't like being called shills. Oh, right. It was fun being called a scammer by you, dickhead. Now piss off and never come back is my attitude to Jaron.
Now, Nathan, one of the things that I've learned that I see through many professions, many trades, many grifts, is that if the salesman, or in other contexts, grifter, tells you the whole truth, then you no longer need the salesman or the grifter. So, of course, they're going to avoid the heavyweight topics like elevation angles and everything else, the Earth being measured flat, because you would no longer need them.
I don't know if I agree with you necessarily, although when I was a salesman, what I was selling was a luxury item, so nobody needed it. There was a certain degree that you could argue that someone needed it if they had a studio-based requirement, that is to say they're producing something with that piece of equipment. But, I mean, I could argue that even then you could buy something that was much, much, much cheaper than I was selling. But I wouldn't call a salesman a grifter. Like, people need things. If I'm selling you food, you wouldn't call the salesman who's trying to get a bulk order for Tesco to buy a grifter. He's just trying to sell his product and doing a good job. Hopefully.
Well, I'm certainly a salesman And it would take somebody years to learn what I know, so they can use my expertise at no cost to them. So why wouldn't they? So I'm not taking a big broad brush to say all salesmen, all grifters. It's just a generalized statement that if you do get into and uh, you make the objective arguments, you no longer need those people because you now know the truth. Once you know the truth, but if you can avoid the heavyweight topics and just stay on the lightweight stuff like NASA satellites and whatever else, well, then you have to keep going back to them because as the arguments get smashed, you got to go back and hear what's the next thing I should say.
I understand what you're saying now. Yes, exactly. If you're being drip fed tiny bits of information, you can keep the grift alive with fantasy that you can peddle indefinitely, whilst drip feeding little bits of overcomes for arguments, and it's an up and down constant process. Whereas a rhetoric that me personally has been putting out for 12 months, which is once you know this information, you can either just get on with your life, that's to say turn your back on me entirely because you don't need me anymore if you know Earth's measured flat, you just know the score. But it's very different if you also then want to go and argue it with your next door neighbour, then you better know every argument under the sun, in which case stay, subscribe, support me, give me money. That's not a grift. That's just you've got to learn the information. Grift is when you're offering something that doesn't have any evidence, proof, or anything else to go along it, like ether, like we've been saying for years. Ether's a grift. Keeps people there in the perpetual fantasy of all sorts of different things that can't be proven. And that sort of, well, we're
And you're
going to now explain
exactly
the
getting
world.
my point by that.
Yeah, exactly. I knew where you were going with it. But you're right. But once people learn the information, they don't need that guru anymore. A case in point is a guy I like watching called Frame Chasers, a computer guy. And for years, he was selling consultations to set up new high-end computers for mostly gamers, right? Gamers that were competing at what they do. So they're trying to earn money playing games to the highest standard. And they want the highest quality of computer, the fastest. More frames might mean they win a game where they might not if they had a quick drop in frame rate. So they're looking to people like him to tune these computers, and he'd charge them $500 or whatever it was he was charging. And people in the sidelines, because he's making YouTube videos about it, will be like, I wouldn't pay you $500. So like all the information you apply to these guys' computers is all available for free online. And he's like, yeah, it is. But I spent years learning it and putting it into practical application to learn what works and what doesn't, and sifting out all the crap that people put out online that isn't right. And for that, you can pay me $500. Now he's changed his tune. Very smart guy. He's gone, okay, so your argument is if you know how to do it, then you don't need me. Okay, I'll put out a course that trains you how to do this. So you can do it yourself instead of me coming and twiddling the knobs on your computer. You learn how to do it. And then you twiddle your own knobs. Same price, 500 quid. And I thought, yeah, that's the way to deal with these dicks. You don't want me to tune it? Well, I haven't got time anyway. I'm moaning about it. So I'll package it together now so that you can do it. And you can pay 500 quid or not. Yeah, all the information's available for you to spend 3 years scouring the internet, weeding out the crap, figuring out which one's giving you useless information that does nothing and wasting your time. And here's a condensed version of it. Now, in the same vein, I'm producing a book with a lot of help from other people that want it to be a really high standard because they love me dearly and want me to look good and want me to earn money from this book. They want it to be a success on my behalf, and that means they're helping me polish it up and make it amazing. But that's the same thing. All right, you want to be able to debate this subject. Go and buy my book. 40 quid.
I can't wait to buy multiple copies. Are you going to offer autographed copies as well?
I don't know what we'll do. It's going to be an expensive book because it's going to be a reference book. So in that regard, I was telling my wife, I was like, look, this was going to come out and make us a few quids and pay a few bills, maybe get some tyres on the car, things like that, then fade into nothingness maybe 2 or 3 years later at best. But given that it's now had an extended 12 to 18 months put on top of what was originally a story about the show, now it's full referenced up with citations after the book's full of actual citations and places to find them. It's a proper reference guide. So just by sheer amount of work, it's just going to be more expensive than originally intended. So it's not going to be like it's a cheap book. So when people are like, I'm going to buy multiple copies, you're like, really? It's not going to be cheap. I don't care. I'm not going to make any apologies for it either. But like, if you want the book, it's going to be expensive. Why? Well, because it's worth that amount of money. Because if the people that were working alongside me to produce it were paid, I'd have to cover those costs. That would make it an expensive book. I want it to be a book that will last forever. That is to say, people ascribe a high amount of value to it, given that it's 10 years of work that's gone into it, and about 2 years of work just producing it. So why wouldn't it have a high value? And like I say, when I put this to my wife, she's like, but people will say that's expensive. And I'm like, do you remember buying your reference books in university? She's like, yeah, they were so expensive. I was like, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you want the condensed version now, how to debate the subject and win non-stop and unpack Coriolis in all its form. Well, then you're going to have to pay whatever we charge. I have no idea what it'll be. It just won't be some cheap paperback that disappears in a year for $10, is what I'm saying.
So just to put that in perspective, my company's paying me for a course that they're paying the university $5,000 for me to take. I'm finishing up the last exam today for the program, and they're paying me about another $3,000 to do it. And so I've been more or less learning a lifetime or two's worth of information in just under a year. So again, tell me, how expensive is your book going to be compared to that?
Oh, nothing.
I think it's going to be a damn basement bargain.
Exactly. It'll be 30 or 40 quid, and that won't be a great deal of money by comparison. And you're right. The same thing applies. Somebody to give you a hyper-focused seminar for a weekend or even a week, you're like, that's going to cost big bucks. Someone's diluted their information into a digestible form that they can put across to you personally over a course, in a period of time that's hopefully acceptable for you to understand, comprehend, and then find useful for a dollar amount. Not perfectly reasonable. That's how the world works, generally speaking. The only difference is we're selling something that most people look at and don't want. They go, I don't want that. It looks like a pile of crap. I don't want flat Earth, thank you. Why would I pay for it? And to that guy, you're like, don't. Bye. I don't care. But if you do want to know, spent 10 years learning about it. Here's how I smash globers on a daily basis. Here's all the references.
100%, brother.
I hope people do. I hope it sells forever. I hope it's the next equivalent to something like Rowbotham's book, Scientism, right? Yeah, I hope people keep buying it because they're like, this is useful. Earth's flat. I don't know what I'll do. Someone recommended this book by Nathan Oakley, called All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth, the ultimate flat Earth reference. I flicked through to the section on Coriolis, read up. Took me about 3 or 4 reads to actually comprehend what it was and fully digest it and understand it. But after I did, I went back to the guy that was giving me grief, explained how we don't have 2 separate reference frames or things would be flying away at 1,000 miles an hour by perception, and they don't. And when he told me that they don't, there's only 1 reference frame, I then pointed him in the direction of a gyroscope or a pendulum and showed how they claim it does have 2 reference frames, and how Earth's supposed to be turning underneath this pendulum by your example on a globe Earth that you're adhering to, and how me as a flat earther actually doesn't have a positive claim to assert when I say things aren't moving, because why would I need to make any declaration about it in the first instance? You're the one claiming it's spinning. You're the one it's got the claim it's got 2 reference frames that you're now denying. Well, to be able to comprehend all of that stuff, hopefully someone who comes along, reads my book 2 or 3 times, and fully comprehends that particular chapter on that particular argument, could go back to next man and say, you need 2 reference frames and you haven't got them, if they were to give the most concise delivery possible. So, yeah, for that. gimme. Hopefully it'll keep my rent paid. When it gets done. Still not done. It's taking forever. But Brian saying, don't mention that you're writing a book, because otherwise from then on in, all people do is say, when's the book ready? From my perspective, that's good, because it means there's a high degree of anticipation for it. So people will want it, and they'll know it's going to be available, and when it is, they'll hopefully buy it. But from Brian's perspective, he's like, I wouldn't want the pestering. If people were pestering me about that all day long, it would drive me nuts. And I don't think he's wrong. I can appreciate it, because you're like frustrated because you want it done too. And people are like, when's it ready? Well, as soon as it's ready, and I want that to be now.
It's like a kid waiting for his favorite toy 6 months before Christmas.
Yeah, and his mate says, when are you getting that toy? Yeah, for Christmas. I really want it. I want it tomorrow. Yeah, but your mum's already gone and bought it. It's behind the cupboard and you know you looked. Yeah, but I can't have it. I know it's there. You can't have it either. You can't play with it. I can't play with it. Is there a new Nintendo for Christmas this year?
No, there's no new Nintendo.
Bummer.
2026 maybe.
Yeah, there's going to be a humble one here, too.
What, humble Christmas? Because there's no new Nintendo out.
Yeah. Well, no, not just that. It's just, I haven't worked in like 7 weeks. They get what they got, and that's it. That's all I could do.
I had to have that conversation with my wife going, oh, I'm really poor. I haven't really bought you anything this year. She's like, don't worry, I bought these trainers and you gave me the money for them 2 or 3 months ago. Wrap those up and give them me. I'm like, okay, but that's still pretty crap. And then I went and checked my PayPal and someone had sent me $100, which is, for me, a very, very large donation. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I went to the pound shop and bought like about 30 stocking fillers. And by pound shop, I mean everything costs between £2 and £5. That's what a pound shop is these days, apparently. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff from the pound shop and then went and bought my wife some perfume. I'm like, oh, I'm actually going to be Santa this year. Which typically I've done, don't get me wrong, I do it every year, but my stupid banker taking my overdraft off me. So where normally I'd be like, oh, well, just have to go overdrawn and do the Santa thing and buy all these stocking fillers. Whereas now it's like, if I haven't actually got the cash in my bank, I can't do those things, which is really irritating. But fortunately, somebody had gone, happy Christmas, Nathan. Here's $100. I'm like, oh, hey. Actually, do you know that conversation, Paula? Just ignore me. I'm off to town. See you later.
That's good. People recognize the hard work you put in. Great to hear that people do that. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very grateful for the community that I've built around me. People appreciate me, and I'm very much appreciative of them. So it should be.
So how do you do? Because Christmas we always get a few gifts, and there'd be one big gift. Either they all got one, or it was something that they could share, and then the rest is like stocking stuff. It's usually cosmetics and things that they need, maybe some candy and stuff like that. Is that how you do it in the
Yeah, basically.
UK?
Yeah, basically. Pretty much the same. Presents that come from relatives go under the tree because they may not be there at the time. They get opened late afternoon. Mid-morning, you might be opening your main, as you call it, presents. And then in the morning, they're opening stocking fillers from their stockings. They might get straight into their presents. I like
Oh wait,
traditionally to take them to church before they open what you'd call main presents. So I'll like, no, put your Sunday best on. They might get given a particular present because they're gonna have to wear it, if you know what I mean.
wait. So you're saying on Christmas Eve? See,
No,
on Christmas
Day.
Eve, yeah, we opened the gifts from the aunts and uncles and things like that. But Christmas Day was when you opened up everything.
Yeah, we open everything up on Christmas Day too, but I'm saying they get their stocking fillers or stockings when they're opening their first presents in the morning when they wake up. Then we go to church. Then we come back and main presents.
Wow. We used to just, I remember when I was a kid, we just couldn't sleep. And then as soon as it was time, like 6 o'clock in the morning, we'd get up and we'd have everything open.
I know, I like to make sure that they like drag out the day a little bit and open a few presents, play with them for a little bit. If they just tear open everything, they're just surrounded by stuff and they're overwhelmed and then knackered within 10 minutes of opening everything. Not knackered, but, overwhelmed with presents. No, that's what I did, Neil. I woke up and basically tore them all open when I was a kid. That's what you did. That's what I did. But my wife and I like to keep a little bit more routine in our kids' lives because we've got the time to do it with them.
That's not a bad idea. I may institute that this year.
Good luck with that, given that your kids are a lot older than mine. They haven't been. Do you take your kids to a service on Christmas Day?
Yeah, we go to service. Well, we haven't found a good church here yet, but we'll go to service. There's one down the road. We'll probably go.
Are you going to go? Are you in a fit state to go?
I'm not going anywhere. I can't walk. If I had the vehicle, I could get in a car and I could drive and go there, but I can't walk there. Too much.
Fair enough. So you'll just stay at home, right?
That's correct.
Bummer. No service for you.
I watch it online.
All right, they publish it online. Yeah, so does our church, which is weird in a really, really old church. Seeing some guy sat there with a laptop and a webcam. You're like, okay, fair enough.
Have you seen Red One yet?
No, Neil.
You should watch it with your kids on Christmas Eve. It's really good.
It's about Santa, right?
Yeah. He gets he gets kidnapped.
Guess what?
He gets kidnapped. He gets taken. But I don't want to tell you because it's like the way
plays
they
Santa?
did it was good.
Who plays Santa?
Oh, the guy that plays J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies. What's that actor's name? Oh shoot, I can't remember. The one with the Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man's.
The one who laughs at him and says, "Are you serious?"
Yeah. He plays Santa.
Okay. So I won't remember the title, but I remember the actor now you've told me. So yeah, I'll try and watch that.
It was well done.
It's on Amazon Prime for free.
Exactly.
Amazon Prime. Okay, cool. Ah, that reminds me. Righteous. Apparently, you can set up a collaborative room in 24/7 politics. That is to say, it'll get a title of Flat Earth Debate Room or something similar, like a collaborative room. Are you familiar with such a thing?
I think so. But AJ talked to me about it. However, don't you gotta have like enough hours a month to be able to hold those rooms going?
I don't know.
So why were you thinking this?
I don't
You
know.
asking Nathan?
I don't know. I was just suggesting what AJ had told me might be an idea to suggest with you.
Okay.
Now I've told you.
I'll
That's
need
it.
to talk to AJ more then.
Yeah. That's it, basically.
Okay.
You mentioned Morgile before. I was in chat with him on one of your shows yesterday. I was going back and forth with him. And you really should come in here and spend some time with us. You'd be a good panel member.
Morgile? He has been in here. Is he not in Master D?
No. I know, but more of a steady, it's more like steady.
Okay.
He's actually the only guy I used to like from that crew, Morgile.
Yeah, Morgile's OG, man. He's been around forever.
Yep.
Like I say, I tuned into his stream with him airing his grievances. Normal Morgile style content will resume, according to him. He was like, look, I'm going to get this out of the way now because everyone's going to be asking me and I'm just going to refer him back to this video. Here's what went down. Here's my opinion now. The end. Took him about 40 minutes. Yeah, there's some interesting gossipy type tidbits in there. So it was good to hear it, because you want to hear that stuff and just kind of dispense with it, and then next time I tune into a Morgul video, it'll be about the subject we cover typically. And I think that's what you're saying when you say Morgul's a good guy. What you mean is Morgul typically talks about Earth being flat. Yeah, he does.
Yep.
Yeah, he's consistently done exactly that for about 10 years. Right, are you guys going to chat amongst yourselves for 10 minutes if I start pressing buttons and getting ready? Or should I pause my recording? Strictly
Sure.
speak, you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's in Discord?
Oh, I am. See if there's
Usually-
anybody else, because I want to do some. I want to do some things too.
Usually
who
there's a
else is
bunch
in
of people on
Discord?
Discord.
Oh, Mighty Mush is back. We got a bunch of people here. Yeah.
Yo, 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 yo. Yo,
Mush.
Hey, Happy Ranger.
Hey, I'm here. Buenos dias, amigos. How's everyone doing?
Doing
Morning,
good.
morning.
So Mush, you've had a few days to digest the whole thing. So the final experiment. So what's your take?
What's my take? I told you, bro. I didn't have a chance to look at anything, but I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything they
It's a bunch of bullshit. Yeah.
I'm gonna sit on the sidelines for a while, watch the whole thing unfold, watch it crumble, and for now, make any claims, say anything. I didn't have a time over the week. I said I was gonna check it out over the weekend, but I just woke up right now, and I don't even know what's going on in the FE world.
Is he chopping for you guys?
Experiment. No. Say that again, bro.
No, I'm just saying. Does anybody else hear you chopping? Because you're coming in and out on my end.
He's coming in good.
What do you guys think about Flat Earth Banjo showing the sun at the same time they were seeing it in Antarctica? In Japan, he saw it.
Was the sun supposed to be out in Japan at that time?
Well, they saw the sun supposedly for 24
Mhm.
hours. So yeah, it's supposed to be in Japan. That's what Sasha was trying to tell you guys the other day. How is it possible for them to see it from way south where they claim to be, and while at the same time sun is over Japan, Banjo sees it, and all other places on Earth, right? And going west to east in Antarctica.
Because Earth
guys,
is flat.
yeah, you're not getting what I'm saying, bro.
I get what you're
Doesn't
saying.
matter. It's not possible, bro. They're showing it's not. I'm not going there.
We'll
West to
see.
east
We'll
sun
see
in
it
a circle.
unfold.
Yeah, man. That's the best way to sit back, eat your popcorn, and watch the thing crumble apart. Fenders, 24-hour sun, flat earths, flipping their lids about it. I'm not sure why. A lot of people defending this bullshit. I'm out. Who's who, man?
I couldn't care less, really, because I know the score.
That's the best. That's the best attitude, Neil, and that's the only attitude, bro. Don't give a shit. When did we ever talk about this? When did we ever mention this? When did we ever say this is important for FE? When did we ever say this proves anything? When did we ever even mention this? Whole time, this is their social mental experiment, bro. To see how people are gonna react, to see how they're gonna split people, to see who's gonna believe it, who's gonna fall for it. Whole thing is a joke, man. And the best thing you can do is not care about it. It's
It was for them to
meaningless.
get it was for them to get the upper hand with the numpties that have no clue.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they did. They got the upper hand, not on us. but we're going to feel the effects of it. And we just got to re-educate people.
Pulled off logical fallacies, and everybody thinks. Man, the fact that we've been talking about it, people are fighting about it. Was it not? That alone is they already won. Whoever pulled it off, right? Yeah, it is what it is, man. Sit back, eat your popcorn.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
Mush.
can't even count on both hands how many times, because I've been in politics lately, especially over the weekend when Nathan is having a show. The first thing these guys come in and say, "So how do you guys feel about the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?" Like, what does it matter?
They're expecting everybody to pack it in. Now, some may that do not know the world is flat. They just believe it. But we know. So there'll be no packing in. There will be no shut, you're shut, you're shut. But on the other hand, I'm seeing a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while, and people I've never heard of before. You see their icons in the chat, and you're like, oh, what the heck is this guy? Come out of the
24-hour sun
woodworks.
brought them back. What's on the schedule for today?
So
We got a
Nathan,
video. I look for
Nathan,
tomorrow.
did you speak to someone down there in Antarctica? Apparently,
Nathan went to make a coffee, so you're gonna give him a couple of minutes. What do you mean? Did he speak to anybody from supposed trip to Antarctica?
yeah.
Oh, Witsit came on the other day. Came right in Discord, asking us to work together, and how good this was for flat Earth. Because now they could come with the good arguments when he gets on these big shows.
Just remember, bro. Before they went, his story was like, "Yo, why wouldn't anybody want to go down there? That's crazy. I find that so weird that all these truthers wouldn't want to go down there and find out whether there's 24-hour sun." But 2 days ago, when he was in the server, I only went down there for exposure, for the big platforms. Because once I get exposure, I'm gonna talk about measure. Okay, so two different, completely different stories. Wait, Witsit, why did you
Yeah.
go down there to find out about 24 sun? Because wouldn't anybody want to know that? Or you just went down there for exposure to talk about measure? Is he flipping the stories, or like what's going on here, man? Or is he just giving us what we want to hear? You know what I mean? Because I asked him like, so why go down there if you know these are logical fallacies? He doesn't. He had nothing to say. Then I went down there just for exposure and to talk about measurement. The guy's like, I don't know, man.
And then he tells Nathan he's just a naturally curious person, and I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did they explain the height of the sun, the angle? Because it was well too high, wasn't it?
Here's the thing you just said. How do they explain
relation
the
to what?
height? Hold on. How do they explain the height of the sun, the angle? It was too high. Well, how are you going to know anything if you're not on a flat Earth? Can't get any of that.
Yeah,
Well, we don't know what the
exactly.
height is anyway, but the angle measurements we could get because Earth is flat.
Yeah, he meant
So I find
Exactly.
it funny they're talking about the
If the
heights
Earth
of
was
mountains
bent,
and where they are.
yeah. Because I'm sure those videos they posted, those faked videos on YouTube of the 24-hour sun, it was always low in the sky, wasn't it? Except for that other one around the base, that seemed higher. None of this shit adds up, eh?
Tell you what, if this whole thing turns out to be some sort of hoax, they buried themselves. You see what happens when you don't have a meeting about appearances?
Good morning. Morning.
What do you mean, Neil? A meeting about appearances?
I'm the only one in G+. This is the sad state of affairs.
The community goes beyond the bounds of Neil Constantino. Neil.
We have a job to do. They should be here, everybody.
Neil sees this as a chore that is requirement of disciplinarian action if you don't actually arrive in the G+ panel at the start of a live show. You realise I went out to X today to do a live stream with them, and I was literally on my own, whereas currently I've got you in one panel and about 10 people in the G+ Discord panel. But it's hardly being alone.
No, your vigilance is off the charts. We know that. I'm talking about the slackers on a G+ panel.
they're under no obligation. There's also 35 people watching, and we've only just started. So, there's about 50 people all in all currently, Neil. We've only just been, I've done an intro. So we're blessed. We're blessed, Neil. Trust me.
Are we going to do housekeeping?
Again?
Are we going to entertain housekeeping today?
It's Christmas time, and it feels like we should be just relaxing into our chairs, drinking hot cups of cocoa. Wife's bought me a jumper because it's a little bit chilly. We could do housekeeping, Neil. Which one would you like? You lead the way.
Is there any evidence of a molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth? And I don't even have that written down.
No. All the measurements are flat, and the R value inference of a presupposed spherical Earth is also flat.
Well, I guess that ends the show. See you later.
We've been conditioned into believing that flat plane measurements of Earth that then go on to have an explanation that's ball-shaped after the fact need explanation on a flat Earth. And we don't. Take the measurements and that's it. That's all you do. Earth's measured flat. That's the end of the discussion. It's really easy. As there may be some newbies that arrive to this show, is there any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve?
I think we debunked that, didn't we? We have a little image called the Black Swan picture, even video.
Should I do the same call to action I've done previously, Neil, about TFE? Letting the dust settle. There's going to be people amongst our number that really want to get stuck into it.
Yeah, call to action for sure to let the dust settle. Absolutely.
All the people who somehow feel that TFE is consequential to their flat Earth understanding will start pulling it apart for various different reasons. And there's a good chance you'll end up looking stupid if you're listening to this and you're one of those people. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who appreciate Earth is obviously, observably, measurably, navigatably flat. Those people don't need anything. They don't need to justify the people seeking cope from it on the GLERF side. They're asking them how it works on a flat Earth. What the world that's measured flat for your GLERF belief that you set up in full dichotomy with two globe reifications. No, I don't need to do that. But you knock yourself out if you think you're getting cope out of me. You won't. So those guys, presumably those guys that are frequent in flat Earth debate, that is, know that there's an affirming the consequent fallacy for both sides. Now one is dispensed with, so it's just the affirming the consequent fallacy for the globe. If you appreciate that, you know it proves nothing. If you know how Earth's measured, you know Earth's flat. So those people are all good anyway. But the people who bugger off because they think that there's going to be some consequence to flat Earth and how it's measured that way, because of the sun observation made in Antarctica, au contraire. Start asking them how they prove it's proving sphericity, and you'll very quickly find them referencing a flat Earth, or not even knowing, as I'm actually finding out. Add determination to point out the logical fallacy that would have to be employed to suggest it proved a globe Earth has precluded the TFE participants in actually stating to any of their viewers how it would have, past tense now, proved the globe with the fallacious reasoning we've highlighted. So it's meant that when you ask people, how does it prove a globe then? They don't know. They can't even give you the fallacy. "67 people watching. Please share the show if you've not done so already. Mash that share button. Very easy to stick it on Bebo or MySpace or whatever social media platform you're using. So click that share button and it'll just present a familiar little icon that you're very familiar with using. And one click later, it'll have shared the show on it. So please share the show if you've not done so already. There will not be a live show tomorrow or Christmas. So what I have done is preemptively, I don't know, maybe it's 3 weeks ago, something like that, maybe a bit longer, did a very long live stream and a very long Uncut and After show alongside that very long live stream that dovetailed into QE's very long live stream. And then I did an after show after his very long live stream. So what we ended up with was 12 hours worth of footage, which I've scheduled to come out Christmas Day on my main channel and then repeat on the second channel the same day as soon as it finishes. So that at some point, if you are on your own at Christmas, which is fairly likely, there's a fair few people out there that may be living on their own and don't necessarily have anybody to chit chat with, there'll be at the very least a live stream on Christmas Day. Not a live stream, it's a premiering stream, but with a live chat that you can, interact with somebody else, have a little chit chat, have a little laugh at the expense of ballers, listen to what the state of flat Earth debate is, listen to a bit of Ballbusters live, all that sort of stuff will go out throughout the entire Christmas day. However, I was hoping maybe I'd do a live stream tomorrow. That's what I was discussing in the pre-show. There won't be, on account of the fact I'm actually going to see Santa Claus at Warwick Castle. So, been there ice skating earlier, maybe a week or two ago. Now I'm going back to see Santa with the kids. So, unfortunately, no, I won't be around at 2 o'clock because that is exactly what time we'll be, sat with Santa at 2 p.m, which is when the live stream typically goes out in UK time. So, unfortunately, no, there won't be a live stream tomorrow because I'm scheduled to do something else. But we'll be back in business next week. So, happy Christmas to everyone. Hopefully, that's what we'll be doing on this show, as we are actually live today and won't be for a couple of days at the very least. You're looking forward to Christmas?
Wait. What do you mean next week? So Christmas is Friday. So there's not going to be a show. I mean, Wednesday. There won't be a show Thursday and Friday?
Well, I don't want to say there will be and then be a liar and not have one. So, as far as I'm concerned, no. At this point, no. I'm going to be out and about doing things, and there's going to be people coming over. So, for a couple of days at the least, I won't be in a position to do a live stream.
Got it.
That's just the way it goes. It's not that I won't be working. I'll still be putting out streams at the regular time. If you tune into Nathan Oakley 1980 at this time, there will be a show. I'll carry my iPad around with me if I have to and schedule streams on the fly if I'm doing something at the time. Now, that's metaphorical. Obviously, I'll know I'm going out to see Santa, so before I go, I'll pick up my iPad and schedule a stream so there is one running at the time that it would normally. So there'll be something to watch. And as I've already said, I've scheduled 2 streams to cover the whole of Christmas. But at some point, regardless of where you are on this flat plane, what time zone you are in, you'll still get to go, all right, hey, happy Christmas, hey, let's drink our eggnog. And then you tune into Nathan Oakley 1980. There will be a show running, or on the second channel, on your Christmas day, wherever you may be. It's good stuff. But this is a wind down show, Neil. Hence me, I was like, should we do housekeeping? Maybe not.
Well, it's amazing that it's almost 2025 already. Where the heck did the year go?
I know exactly where it went. Fighting tooth and nail to get flatties to understand that Earth is measured flat, and that should be their declaration. I even had to do it today in the X channel. So someone was talking about how we measure Earth flat in surveying, and then almost went on to say, and we haven't got curve for this reason and that, and I stopped them. It was the host of the show, actually. But yeah, I'm like, no, don't do that. Stop at we measure Earth flat. Don't then make apologetics for why it isn't ball-shaped after you've measured it flat. That's where the argument ends. Let's not whistle past the graveyard and start exampling how ball-shaped it isn't with our flat Earth measurements. Because then there's a suggestion that we need to prove how flat it is with our flat measurements. No, let's not whistle past the graveyard. Everybody measures Earth flat. Now, that particular example, someone's saying, well, yeah, but if I take all these flat measurements and slap them together in a great big long line, the ballers say that they're ball-shaped. Like, let me get it straight. So you're asking me why your flat Earth measurements aren't going to be ball-shaped after you extrapolate them out, after having measured them flat. And it's like, yeah, but if I just tell someone, well, we've just measured Earth flat, they look at me like I'm silly. It's like, yeah, well, that's because you haven't understood the argument yet. We measure Earth flat, don't whistle past the graveyard. It is that simple. You thinking it should be more complicated is your problem, because it really isn't. When the Globers come to explain how they're going to tell you it's globe-shaped, they'll measure Earth flat too and say, oh, it's only locally, though. You're like, well, okay, have you got any measurements? Doesn't matter how local or non-local, globe-shaped. You don't. They're all flat. Yeah, I know. Welcome to flat Earth. That's how it's measured.
Yeah, once you hit them with the, well, where's your globe measurements? They're done.
Yeah, leave the excuses to the Globers. That's their job. And you're right, Neil. Our argument's done once we measure Earth is flat.
And that's what I tried to get across to Ping Pong Golf Ball. Let me make sure I call him the right name. And he even admitted it, that everything else means nothing. So then the next question is, and why are you talking about anything else?
I just received a PayPal donation. It's a couple of times this has happened in this year. I don't think it's happened prior to this year. But I won't give the guy's full name because he hasn't told me he does or doesn't want that. But I'll just use one name. So thank you to Jerry for sending me a PayPal donation. He says, quote, thank you for another great year of broadcasting, thumbs up, and a sizable PayPal donation. Thank you very much, Jerry. Really, really appreciate it. I will send you an email, as I always do, when someone sends me a PayPal donation. But thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate your support. Happy Christmas to you. And thank you for your appreciation of what I know damn well has been not an arduous year. It's fairly, I would say, more positive than negative, but it doesn't mean it hasn't been hard work. You know, there's been certain weeks that I've gone, do I really want to go into the politics server and tell them again that we're here to tell you Earth's measured flat and you should lead with that, when I've told them 50 times previous? You know what I mean? So I can remember it all. I can remember thinking at the beginning of the year, what's this year going to be? What's our objective? Well, to tell people Earth's flat, of course. Seems obvious, but it isn't when everyone's like, yeah, I'm a flat earther, my name's Dave. Earth's not a ball, because Earth's not a ball, and here's how Earth's not a ball. And if Earth was a ball, Earth wouldn't be a ball, because Earth would be a ball if it was a ball. Ball could be a really big ball. Yeah, I'm a flat earther, buy my app. That's what we've had for a year, with me saying, no, let's not talk about how Earth's not a ball. That's not a flat Earth proof. Let's talk about Earth and how it's measured as our lead to any discussion if it comes up. Merry Christmas, a time when all elves are employed well. All but one. Very good. Thank you for the super chat, Godzilla. Very amusing. 82 watching. Smash that share button if you haven't done so already. And Merry Christmas to you all. Happy Christmas. Adam will get very annoyed if I say Merry Christmas.
Well, Nathan,
Yes.
hold on. Let me just get this out. Some people also believe that it's more important to prove that the Earth is not turning.
That's a non-positive claim that I don't have to offer any substance to. People are quite keen to prove Earth isn't a giant tangerine. You don't have to disprove something that isn't self-evident. So we're not self-evidently turning. They claim to give a standard that demonstrates nothing in the form of Coriolis and isn't provable. But when that fails, I've got to prove we're not spinning, not tangerine. I don't have to do that. I don't have to prove anything that's starting with a not statement. Yeah?
Your reference frames are ruined.
They're not mine. That's the point.
No, I know.
Saying Earth is not a unicorn, right? If someone comes up to me and suggests that it is, I don't have to go to any lengths to prove it isn't. I'm not making the positive claim. It's up to the person that says it is a unicorn to prove it's a unicorn. You say Earth's spinning, prove it. Well, look at those stars moving. Yeah, that'll be stars moving.
Well, look at that 24-hour sun, Nathan.
Okay, I've looked at it. Yeah, I've looked at it. Now what, Neil?
Doesn't
Okay.
mean a thing.
How about this? Look at how there's no guns in Antarctica. Does that prove anything?
No.
It proves that.
I'll take that
Hold
under
on.
advisement too.
It proves that you can get a great song out of it.
The guys over in X this morning were saying to their audience, who's going to come and tell us how this proves the globe then? Nobody's done it. Sound familiar? As that's what we're saying? Who's going to offer it? Nobody's got any evidence to say anything beyond what was given to them as the rhetoric. Flat earthers say this map explains this observation, and it fails. Okay, well, that's a straw man for us. It balls up a few other dickhead flat earthers that have sold you an application that has that map in it. Maybe they'll just slot a moon app in its place and tell you it's all good. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't affect us.
Oh, my. We are sitting so pretty over here.
So yeah, I think it's been an overall good year. It's been topped off nicely by extra engagement, extra audience participation, view numbers, subscribers, as a result of a balls up on the part of the people we've been condemning for their lies, deceit, and general scumbag behaviour for a considerable amount of time. So it's actually worked out quite nicely at the end of the year for us. And maybe we'll purge a load of numpty flat earthers that only had a belief in the subject anyway.
Well, it was good that you didn't take my advice and leave them all alone. You continued to reach out because you want to get them better equipped with good arguments. Some not even arguments, just facts of life, like celestial navigation. And you turn out smelling like a rose because you did reach out even after they called you a scammer. Many times. So you're looking good, Nathan.
Well, it wasn't about ever looking good. It would have been far better if they'd have bloody listened. And then when offered to go down to Antarctica, they went, what for? An experiment? Give me the hypothesis. Because they understood how these arguments worked. Now we've got people like DeBay going, this wasn't an experiment. You're going, well, yeah, that's true, but it's a bit too little too late, given that they're causing all the damage already. Don't get me wrong, Eric, I feel for you, mate. We're having to mop up the mess too. But they're the people that were in a position to say, this isn't an experiment. Where's the hypothesis? Oh, what you're doing is affirming the consequent. That's a fallacy. That doesn't prove it. So you're saying that if we observe it, we can assume that we travel to the bottom of a ball? That doesn't work.
Yeah, if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, then unicorns make the sky blue. Since there is a 24-hour sun, that means unicorns make the sky blue. Proof.
Yeah, so to all those people out there that said that there would be a red sky down in Antarctica, egg on your face. Yeah, all the people who made that claim, that there'd be a red sky in Antarctica, it was proven that the 24-hour sun manufactures the blue sky. Because they went down there and affirmed the consequent that if you're going to have a 24-hour sun, it'll be a blue sky as a consequence of that. Like, okay. Yeah, egg on the face of anybody who said different about that sun and what it would do. What's that? You're going to connect that sun and what it did to a flat earth failure? Yeah, be our guest. What's that? The map that they were holding up fails. Yeah, it failed 10 years ago. It never succeeded since. It was monetized quite substantially by a guy called Dave, but it didn't really do you any favors now that it's been held up as failing, has it? Because that's being ascribed to you as a flat earther numpty. Not me. I never did that. Oh, what's that? You've got a comment from 10 years ago? Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel terrible. What's that? No guns? Yeah, I feel really awful now. It's an affirming the consequent. We've explained it for a long time. It doesn't affect us in the slightest. It's a cool observation. What? It might turn out to be fake. That'll be interesting. It might turn out to be real. That'll be interesting.
Super chat.
Shout out to Michael Jones. Have a great Christmas, Nathan. Can't wait for the book. PayPal for Neil from me too. Oh, you're getting PayPals, Neil. Check you out. Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Hey, I'm really pleased. Thank you, Michael. Oh, Neil's grateful too.
Wait a second. Wait a second. I got a PayPal? I didn't even read it. I just seen Super Chat and it reminded me of Booger.
Yes, the moderation team have consistently been putting out your PayPal information since you had a car accident and are now obviously really poor and unable to make any money. So your PayPal information is being distributed quite wide and broadly currently. I'm sure you're aware. You're in the chats when it's going out there, right? So people
Yeah, that I know, but I
taking
didn't see
pity on you,
anything.
which is good.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it. See, Nathan even opens up his corner for me. What a guy.
What a guy. Very amusing, Neil. If you're a member, that was what I was going in the area about 5 minutes ago and I've lost complete track of what I was talking about. If you are a member, you can watch my interactions on X. Now, obviously, if you're a participant of the 24/7 Flat Earth Discord server, you'll be well aware of this because you may have even taken part on X broadcast that they did. Now, they invited me on. I still recorded it for consumption of my YouTube audience. But given that I'm not going to be around to do a live show, what I will do is release that tomorrow. So it'll still be bang up to date. So it'll be fresh, new. No one will have seen it. It's been out for members 24 hours, and then it'll go out to the audience. So if you want to see it early and you're a member, then it means you won't get anything to keep you amused at 2 o'clock tomorrow, but at least you can watch it now because it is available. And then it'll just go into rotation on the second channel and come out sometime in January. But yeah, that's what I'll release tomorrow. My couple of hours I spent with the guys from 24/7 Flat Earth Discord, as opposed to us, which is Flat Earth Debate Discord. There you go. Check it out. That's available. It'll come out tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a good channel. I jump in there sometimes. They're good guys.
Hey, Stinky Cash is in our chat. So Stinky Cash had the original idea to produce what is effectively turned into the Sun, Moon, and Zodiac clock app. Stinky man, you've dodged a bullet. While Dave did manage to monetize your idea, you'd be being called a shill right now. So I think you've done all right. You've dodged the bullet quite nicely, I'd say, Stinky Cash. Check out Stinky Cash if you don't know who he is. He's another OG Flat Earther who's been here as long as I have. He's in our chat right now. Hello, Stinky.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Is he in Discord?
No, he's in the YouTube live stream chat.
See, I invited him in Discord because he has an issue with
He's in
certain
Discord
things
as
with
well.
celestial navigation.
Oh, is he in the VC? Hey, Stinky.
Yes, he's
yeah,
in
he is.
Discord
Hey,
as
Stinky.
well.
I didn't see you there. Sorry.
Stinky.
Yeah, I've been here. What's up, guys?
Guy.
Well, you had an issue with certain things a few
Merry
weeks ago.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Apparently, you're being rumpused by Neil because apparently you've got an issue that you're airing in the YouTube chat. I have no idea what he's
No,
talking
that was several weeks ago. I'm not trying to rehash that.
Okay.
Correct me if
I
I'm
just
wrong,
wanted to
Stinky.
know. I wanted you to clear the air. That's all. No problems.
But for a stroke of fate, and by that I mean Dave stealing your idea, you would be being called a shill now for promoting that azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection.
Yeah, I guess that is probably what would be going on.
So are you pleased that it's not you being called a shill and instead Dave Weiss after robbing your app idea?
I'm not pleased about any of it, but it is what it is.
Good answer. Fair enough.
Sounds like a good guy.
You Stinky? Stinky's salt of the earth.
Yeah. I used to catch a few of his stuff. He's a OG, like you said.
Yeah, he seems despondent, and I don't blame him. It's like, what's to make of this? When you said, about me being pleased, it's like, no, I'd rather, instead of coming out smelling of roses from a dung heap, it would have been far better if, no, I didn't see any necessary benefit from it, but Jaron, Whitsitt, whoever, actually affirmed the arguments, pointed out the fallacies, and then made some decent positional moves to let the audience know that Earth's measured flat. But instead, oh no, maybe you can figure it out in the comment section is as best as the audience is going to get, right? Well, had he have understood how science and the scientific method worked, if I'd identified the fallacy in the title. It never happened, it didn't happen. So it's just the damage. Well, I might come out looking okay after all that damage, but it's still a giant dung heap, isn't it?
Absolutely. A very large, giant hill of crap.
Yeah. Not that it's going to make me particularly despondent. I'm intrigued to see what happens going forward. It'll be interesting to see how other flatties react. The Globers are already soaking up their coke, but it's always short-lived. Their little shot of adrenaline will last as long as other YouTubers respond to it. So I saw Some Ordinary Gamers, who's a fairly big YouTuber, doing a response about it. The Mail's done a response. The Times, the New York Times did a response about it. There was a couple of others. And then it's completely faded out. It's like yesterday's chip wrapping, right? It's in the bin and nobody's caring anymore.
It's
No,
not
no, it
much
depends.
different.
Go ahead.
Thinky.
It's not much different than when they had Bob Nodel's 15-degree, shift, and then they said flat earther proves the Earth is a globe. Or they did the laser experiment and they said flat earther proves the Earth is a globe. They're doing the same thing here. But all three situations have a couple things in common, and it's that Jaren Glowbusters camp. It's like they set themselves up, to be the face of the debunking.
Yeah. They need a nice, controllable representation of the false dichotomy on the flat earth side so that they can point at that particular person or that particular camp of flat earthers to represent the whole when it fails. That's what they've enabled.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's going to be people out there like, you're too harsh on them. Well, no, I don't agree. My example would be when I've turned down various different opportunities to get the clout that is offered when you go on big channels that Witsit's saying he's gathering up the receipts for. It's like, no, you self-indulgent prick. All you're interested in is how famous you get. Me, I'm more interested in how much damage potentially could be done to my reputation and the reputation of this subject that I'm covering when they have me somewhere. And most of the time that people contact you, they have not got your best interests at heart.
That's a fact.
He's too stupid to realize that.
The very first time I was contacted by David Weiss about 10 years ago, I mean, it was basically a setup. He invited me on the John Laban, what was it called? The Globe Earth Roundtable, or the Flat Earth Roundtable with John Laban. And
All Earth Skeptic Roundtable.
That's right. But it was basically just like a setup, basically, where they didn't do a good job, but that guy was a fake flat earther at the time.
Not a lot of people know that. Did anybody else here, before Stinky Cash mentioning it, realise that Dave and JLB were co-hosts together at one stage?
That's news
I
to me.
did not. Yep.
Did you know that they interviewed Eric DeBay? JLB and Dave Weiss together on the Ball Earth Skeptic Roundtable. Was anybody aware of that?
That's news to me.
Oh, there you go. That's why you have people like Stinky on to remind you of those sorts of things.
I was just going to say, Stinky's been around.
I went on the show. Yeah, I went on that show. I think that was 2015.
Yeah, they had you, they had Dave. There's all sorts of people on there, right, that were around at the time. I don't think that you never got Mark, or they never got Mark, but they did get DeBay.
Yeah. See, at the time, Dave was, attaching his tentacles onto anybody making flat Earth content at the time. Essentially trying to bring them under his wing. Because once he does that, he can offer you promotion. He can offer you more subscribers, more views, more money, more fame. And then you're essentially he owns you at that point.
Yeah.
That's how he got his boat.
Controlled opposition.
He is. He is the definition of controlled opposition.
You know what his name is over here? Big
Ball
Globe Dave.
Could be a really big ball was a quote Dave Weiss gave to Jesse Peterson. Is that right? It was Jesse Lee Peterson, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's been changed to Big Globe Dave because that's what he said most recently.
It could be a really big globe.
Correct.
Wow. Very telling.
Good morning, y'all.
Hey, Craig.
Hi, Nathan.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas to you too.
Hey, where's my happy Christmas?
Hey, I did hear you, Joe.
Hey,
Happy
chocolate. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Good morning, Merry Christmas.
And also to RoboCop. Peter Wellers, that nobody got that joke.
And again, we might seem bitter, but no. Like I personally have attempted to educate people like Dave Weiss in argumentation that would overcome things like the final experiment. And it's been shut down so that they don't have to listen to it, don't have to repeat it, don't have to regurgitate it.
Well, didn't you try to explain? Go ahead.
No, you're right.
No, I was going to ask Nathan. Weren't you explaining celestial navigation to Aaron? And he was with Mick Toons, and he even said to you that the same thing can be done on a globe. Something to that effect.
Was arguing for the globe on behalf of the argumentation he acquired from McToon on a live stream. This isn't like a private conversation in this regard. This is in addition to the private conversations I've attempted to have with them to educate them on science and things like celestial navigation. But that particular instance, Neil, was done on a live stream. Yeah, I'm told tangents for ground positions. Like, okay, I quite believe my ears. You're fighting for the globe's capability of arguing for this? Amazing. It's almost like you're here to make the globe work. Why am I arguing with Jaron about how tangents can give you ground positions when they're near touching a presupposed sphere dangling beneath a straight line that isn't in existence to measure? I don't get why arguments like that are being put to me by quote-unquote flat earthers. That makes them ballers. What's going on? Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's why you'd call him a shill. If you're literally a flat earther who's fought tooth and nail to put the best arguments out there, and your flat earth brethren, in this case Jaron, is telling you how this can, quote, work on a ball, you're like, what? This is madness.
It's different if you tell them that they acquire their angles by going to the center of the earth and lay it all down that way, but not the way he was saying it.
Either way, if you're being argued against when you're trying to explain how something functionally actually operates, because you've spent a solid 2 years learning it, with 10th man at your side, going through all the books, having all the perfect citations, all the references that you need to back it, all the screenshots that could ever be. Half the things that are flashing by on screen for the last 10 minutes are in reference to this discussion. Where do you think we've got these? Do you think we've got them from the Flat Earth books? There aren't any. I mean, there are, but not in this context. They're all from general standard celestial navigation books that explain how this angle from hell working on the celestial equator, that's a flat plane of reference with a 40-degree angle with respect to it. That's measuring Earth flat. Now, they wrap a protractor around it and call it a globe Earth. Now, I'm not suggesting this as an argument. I'm trying to discipline Jaron in how to understand how Earth's measured flat, and he's arguing for how it could work on a curved surface. What, this 40-degree angle? No, it can't. But hearing Jaron fight against flat Earth and for how a ball can work was the point that I decided he's a shill. He's controlled opposition. He's here to lead the world back onto a ball. And I was proven right. But at no point was I saying to him, you're a shill for doing this. I'm saying, no, you just don't understand. Please let me educate you. Reaching out, trying to be that guy that helps a flat Earth compadre in better argumentation. What I got in exchange for that was called a scammer.
Well, that's what you get for trying to be Helpy Helperton.
Well, you guys
I
told me
know.
not to. None of the people around me wanted me to help Jaren or try and educate him in these arguments. Science, celestial, it doesn't matter which argument we're talking about. I attempted to educate Dave, Jaren, whoever, Bob, the public exercise in being extradited from the community because I've attempted to explain how reference frames work to Bob when he balls everything up on Netflix. That got me extradited from the community also. Condemned to all hell by the flat earth believing numpties that they obviously wanted to round up so they could disavow them all. And that's what's happening.
Has Dave Weiss ever come on your show?
The 15 degree per hour claim, it's a flat earth proof.
Yep, correct. It is. Yes, you will need a flat earth to describe the two horizontal planes of reference.
And axial rotation needs to be perpendicular to the horizontal plane.
Correct. You need a flat earth to describe axial rotation. By inference, after extrapolation from flat earth measurements, that's correct.
Thanks,
Heaven forbid what you know, George, from having listened to people like 10th Man in this regard, or refracted curvature in regards to axial rotation needing a flat plane, right? These are arguments that we discuss here and refine here. This is all we want the people like Dave and Jaren and whoever to understand and appreciate so that they can smash the living daylights out of globe believers when they suggest that Earth's a sphere with flat Earth measurements. But what we got in return for that was condemned. That's what actually has happened. Now that they've sold everyone down the river, told them, maybe you can figure out in the comments, maybe people start to wake up or bugger off. And if they bugger off, it's like, well, you only had a tertiary understanding of this subject. Clearly you didn't know it was flat to begin with. Or you couldn't walk away. Yeah, it'll happen again. We'll just get 10 years of the same stuff. Feast and nonsense will start piling in from all sides, right? People started informing of me about 12 to 18 months ago. Oh my God, the feast and nonsense is prevalent over on TikTok. Go on TikTok. So I go on TikTok, put out a few videos. And when I go through and look at what's on TikTok from flat earthers, it's like, all right, so here's the feast and nonsense starting to creep its way back in again. Conspiratards talking about conspiratorial things that aren't provable and then talking about flat earth or calling themselves flat earthers afterwards. When I joined, it was clone centers, Taylor Swift's a clone. This is 10 years ago. When Taylor Swift wasn't even famous and people were just seeing her up and coming. People claiming she's a bleeding clone. Mandela effect. That was heart and soul of your average numpty coming to flat earth 10 years ago. What else was there? 9/11, of course. Goes without saying. There's a few others. Some that were particularly egregious, like Mandela effect, which pissed me off immediately as soon as I arrived at the subject. Like, what are we doing talking about this tripe? I mean, it was Jesse Spots immediately. I had to get all over his case going, what are you doing talking about the clone centers and Taylor Swift and Mandela effect and dome rainbows? Bullshitters
no
immediately.
trees.
Go on.
No trees.
No trees came
trees.
later.
Mountains or melted buildings.
That came much later. That'll come later. Initially, we'll get the same kind of garbage that we had previously. People and monsters. So we got mutants and what was it that people were saying back then? There was a particular reptilians.
Reptiles.
Yeah, lizard people. Yeah,
You got it. That was 10 years ago. People who were talking that tribe got given flat Earth by the automatic algorithm. They were all given whatever was available at the time, Math Powerland and a few other bits and bobs. Alongside, obviously, Feast of Nonsense garbage. Stars in a jar, all that kind of crap. That was what was out there. And flight plans. How do the flight plans fail on an azimuthal equidistant globe projection? That's your map. You believe this is the world now, by the way. Don't forget it. This is your map. And they'll just start doing that again. It's already started. We've already seen it. It's like, can I stem the flow of TikTok and X and Facebook videos constantly asserting the same garbage we had 10 years ago and then going on to talk about whatever conspiratard nonsense is in in the realm of the alternative conspiracy truth on the internet. I can't stem every bit of flow of that garbage, but it seems like they've got a repeating cycle for flat earthers. Build up as many numpties behind a group of people that seemingly offer them 80% of truthful, useful information, and the other 20% is useless garbage that makes you look like a complete idiot if you ever repeat it. And then destroy the map over and over again. Destroy the azimuthal equidistant projection over and over and over again.
Well, you can't really destroy it if that's literally what's brought you to this topic. And I find that that seems to be Jaren's problem, that he believes in flat Earth, or he did, because of that map. I mean, he said that. I heard him say that. So if your belief is based on a map, I mean, well, there you go.
No, that's the way the controlled opposition needs this argument to be built up and then fail. And you need people that are on your side to make sure it goes in that direction.
You know, I wonder what next scheme the Globers will come up with, and also how much money it'll cost for them to prove Earth is flat again.
No, what they're saying now is the new conspiracy is how come none of the Globers were so tired? They were full of energy, but it seemed like all the flat earthers were exhausted.
Who cares? What relevance has that got?
That's what I said. Who cares?
Yeah, just don't do it. You want to look at shadows? Bloody hell. You're looking at shadows because you think there's some consequence that needs debunking. Look at McToon's shadows while he screams my name into the snow. Just step back. Why is McToon screaming my name into the snow? Because he was confronted with his own flat earth measurements. Not because the shadows were changing length as Dave McKeegan moves around a bit with his camera. But, I mean, you can spend all day analysing shadows if you wish. Fine. But you'll just end up looking like a numpty. Maybe I'll be wrong and you'll prove that it's in a studio. It doesn't matter if it is in a studio. So what? They prove that they lied. Okay? So they'll fall back on other claim to beat 24-hour suns if it is proven fake. Doesn't prove anything for us either. Doesn't help us either way. It was a false dichotomy. Neither side had an answer when they offered up their affirming the consequent. The flat earthers wouldn't have proved anything if they'd have got their way at this observation. Now, by their way, I mean they'd have affirmed the consequent that the azimuthal equidistant projection was correct when they didn't see a 24-hour sun. That wouldn't have been proof either. It would have been far harder for me to work against the numpties of flat Earth, I assure you. Globe numpties, I've dealt with them for 10 years. That's easy. At the moment, it's great thanks to Toon. It's really easy to hand wave them. So you're telling me there's no guns? Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, meanwhile, Earth's measured flat. That's why Toon was screaming my name. He wasn't concerned about the shadows, and neither should you be. But if you want to leave the numpties to have a look at that because they think they need to, you don't need to. It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential if they saw it or not. Earth's still going to be measured flat. The pitch data that they got when they went from A to B to get there was flat. All of the maps and models that they used, not that they've got actual models to present beyond their paradigm that they believe exists, they're all going to be created, if they've got something to point to, with flat measurements. There's no exception to anything I've just said. Nothing will change. That's why they're going nuts. That's why it wasn't enough to just make this observation.
Well, what will help us is when they're supposedly in Antarctica discussing the heights of mountains.
With respect to a plane.
I just think it's kind of funny because now I got videos popping up all over the place and this and that, shadows. And it's like I started laughing to myself yesterday because I was like, wow, it's like the Golovers gave themselves a new moon landing. That's cute. You just gave everybody reasons to look at you and say, what the hell is all this?
That's what I named it, the new moon landing.
Yeah, it's the 2024 moon landing. Yeah, it's freaking hilarious.
Wait for the measurements to roll in and they'll all be flat. Someone's saying it in the chat. Did they measure curvature? Well, no. Earth is measured flat. If you're going to talk about the height of mountains, you're going to be talking about something that refers to a horizontal plane of reference, the average thereof, sea level, and that's how you'll be describing these mountains off a flat Earth. So Earth will always be measured flat. There's no getting away from this. Now, if you go, oh, okay, yeah, we reference Earth map. Yeah, we've mapped Earth flat. Yeah, we've charted it flat. Yeah, we flew here flat. But there's the sun. Yeah, there it is, isn't it?
Better to talk about the sun than the Earth's curvature, which is
I don't know.
supposed to be the first thing you're supposed to talk about when you
You missed
try
a
to
step,
prove its
though.
curvature. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you missed a step. You're just supposed to say, now you explain how the sun works after you observe it for 24 hours.
Now I'm good.
Yeah, real good.
I'm okay, thanks. I don't have to explain it. I wasn't making a claim about it. No, you've got this map, have I? The one that I debunked 10 years ago when we tracked the sun. Now, I'm pretty sure we figured out that that map doesn't work. So, what? I should now be really sorrowful that you debunked it again. No, well done. It's a globe projection, by the way. You're saying that globe projection does not work. Well done. And should we get back to what proves Earth's flat then? Like the measurements. What's that? Height of the mountains? Did you measure that? You'll be measuring it off a flat Earth. Let's give me any measurement, anything that they get. If it is just as crap as there's the sun, we're done, jobs are good and goodbye, shut your channel shut. You're shut. If that's what you think is going to do it, then you're very much mistaken. Yeah, all the measurements will be flat. Wait for them to start assessing stuff. What are you going to do? Give me the elevation angle with respect to the shadows and say that they don't work? Well, you'll be giving me flat Earth descriptions of elevation angles to the sun with those shadows. That's a flat Earth measurement. So, do I care if it's in a studio? How are you going to measure whether it's flat or spherical with respect to the sun in that studio? Oh, with elevation angles? Well, they're flat Earth prerequisites. So the measurements we do to verify it will require it be flat to measure it. I'm done here, thanks, bye. No measurement they will give me will in any way do anything other than confirm a flat Earth has been measured. Because it has to be. Like I say, there's no walking away from this.
You know, other than screaming out names in Antarctica, why aren't they beating down the door here and throwing this in our face? Where are they? I don't get it. What represent? Yeah.
I don't know.
Their victory tactic is to put their fingers in the ears and scream, I win, I win.
No, the only ones that are coming up with answers are trying to figure these things out or talking about shadows are those that believe Earth is flat. You know Earth is flat, it does not affect you. But there are new people coming in. I see new people in chat that I've never seen before. Unorthodox wanted to be assured that if he comes on here, he would give 10 minutes of uninterrupted dialogue.
Unorthodox. Yes, unorthodox. You're very welcome here. Come and tell us all about it.
What, he expects to get he wants me to clear the airways for him to control my show for 10 minutes, like uninterrupted. Is that what he's asking for?
Yeah. Yeah, the other day I said, yeah, come in.
Did he use the word dialogue?
No, I used it, but he wanted 10 minutes of uninterrupted time.
That would be an uninterrupted.
To go over this.
So he wants an uninterrupted monologue for 10 minutes, does he? Suck my... Let's get the language nice and family. No, I'm thinking no.
Well, I told them, yeah, but, just come in. They said, yeah, whatever you want. Come on.
You can have dialogue for as long as is necessary. You can have 20 minutes if he needs it. Why do they need conditions? Why aren't they... The door's open. Sorry, you need to negotiate your entrance to this platform. Sorry, weren't you guys just privy to, what was it, 300 grand's worth of marvellous globe evidence? The Times thought it was good enough. You need to negotiate your entrance to tell us, aha, Earth's a globe, look at the sun. You need to negotiate that entrance, do you? 10 minutes it would take. 10 minutes to explain out that observation that the New York Times and Daily Mail and these people are running with. You think that needs 10 minutes? Nah, just come in and summarise it in a single sentence. Should be easy, right? No. Earth's going to be measured flat. If you try and detail a single measurement with that sun, it will be flat.
It'll be 10 minutes of excuses of why it's so flat shaped and not ball shaped.
I mean, who else from back in the day wants to come through with this? Unorthodox, Wiggles. I mean, where's Timmy Clown at? Like, bring, where are you guys?
Yeah,
I
so
would
far
love to hear Rumpus.
we've had JLB so far. That's it.
Yeah, I guess, but he wasn't one of the main numpties that would frequent us all the time, you know?
It'll
They
be
were-
10 minutes of like what Witsit did that one day, trying to like explain a concept, and then that concept was going to be ether. It's like, oh, I'm going to explain this logical concept, and then it's going to turn out to be ether.
Well, the door's open, as is always the case. No, nobody's been beating it down since the final experiment, aka fraud, claiming to be empirical evidence when making an observation and affirming the consequent. No one's come in to beat our door down and tell us how globe-shaped it's proven to be. I mean, they got to cope for a couple of hours out of it, I would assume, because we haven't had a single person that's challenged us on this or presented it as a globe evidence thus far. Has anybody had anybody present this to them, going, "Ha ha, here's how it proves a globe"?
Yeah, in politics Discord, a few numpties come in there and say that. Yeah,
fair enough.
I've had somebody tell me that it can only work on a globe.
But that's
like,
begging
how?
That's begging the question, though, isn't it? If you say this can only work on a globe, so if you assume you're on a globe, then describe how it works, that's affirming the consequent. The fallacy, straight up begging the question in that case. It can only work on a globe. Oh, so if you model it on a globe by assumption and assume that you're on the bottom of it when you make the observation, it works. Begging the question.
Yeah, and then they ask me to explain how it works on your flat Earth. It's like I made no claims.
It works. Look, there it is working on an Earth that we measure flat. What do you mean? I don't have a practical application. I don't need one. Are we using it for something? Did you want to navigate with it? There are processes in place to utilize it in that fashion. If you want to make it, quote, work. How does it work on a flat Earth? What is there to describe working? There it is doing it. Earth is flat. Ergo, ipso facto, it is, if you want to call it doing what it's doing, working. I mean, it's a working girl spinning around at the 360-degree motion that it's doing by what you've demonstrated it to be doing. And Earth is flat. So there it is working on a flat Earth. Did you want more? Well, how'd you model it? I don't.
What only works on a globe? The thing that you just gotten for the first time? That you've been able to evidence for supposedly for the first time? That works only on the globe.
Yes. Oh, some moron thinks the reason why Toon yelled your name was because he screamed your name in Antarctica to create a memorable moment that made you, Nathan, part of the proof that they were there when they said they were. Nathan Oakley, 1980. This is a baller who's saying that he's asking us for measurements of flat Earth. Is he serious?
Don't follow what you just said, Neil.
Okay. Has anybody ever seen any of these flat Earth measurements? The only one I have seen is latitude, thank you very much, which is actually degrees of an arc.
Has anyone seen any of these flat Earth measurements? The only one I've seen is a fundamental basis for my globe belief that's wrapped around it and used in mapping and that. Not very important at all, that flat Earth prerequisite angle measurement to Polaris that forms the mapping system we use in the form of transverse Mercator. Not like that's a proof of anything. No, it's the fundamental basis for our navigation system and can only be measured on a flat Earth, but you don't know of any of these measurements, other than the one you've mentioned with Polaris on a flat plane. Yeah, what a dick.
Well, he says they're actually degrees of an arc.
Degrees? That's two straight lines forming an angle, one of which is the ground, the other is Polaris. Yeah, that arc would be the arc through the protractor you're measuring the angle with. Your globe becomes that arc.
That's it. That's the only measurement we know of.
It's an angle. It's a degree measurement. It's two straight lines meeting at a vertex. That's what an angle is.
That's correct.
Yeah, Earth's measured flat to get the latitude of anything ever and form the systems that we now navigate with and the maps, regardless of their globe projection and then reification onto a map that people think is actually in existence when we chart the world with the Mercator projection. That's a square map. Where do you think that came from? From a globe projection, you say? Yeah, where did the globe projection come from? Oh, well, the latitude system in this instance, measured with an angle to Polaris, forming circles. They're flat. Oh, what do you know? This would be an example of how you could visualize that on screen. Each of these lines to Polaris as you back away from it. It's not exactly representing that, but it's good enough for me to describe it in this example. As you back away from Polaris, the angle off a flat plane decreases as you get further away from Polaris. It recedes towards the horizon, and you can measure that angle. But it is absolutely, without a question, a flat Earth prerequisite. There's the line along the ground and the line up to the star. That's what you're measuring. That's latitude. You can then transpose that angle acquisition onto a spherical surface. When you base the ground positions on the equatorial plane, that's a flat plane, by way of Haversine conversion onto a spherical projected sphere. Well, that's mapping the positions on the ground that's flat that you've measured with angles that are flat, converting them into a system that alleges to have the ground positions below inside the globe projected up through it, making the globe nothing more than a glorified protractor. You then wrap a cylinder around that and plot the points back out onto the cylinder and roll that out flat, and you have the world map that we use. That's how it works. You measure Earth flat and then go through a convoluted gaggle screw process of projection off planes to spheres, back to cylinders, back to flat planes that are useful. Why? Well, to deceive you, so that you believe you're on a sphere. Because, the flat map we actually use with angle measurements to everything when we measure Earth flat came from a globe. It's a globe projection. And why is it flat? Well, because it wouldn't work with the angles we measure with respect to Earth if it wasn't. But it's from a globe projection. Where did the globe projection come from? The globe itself is made with flat Earth elevation angles to the star. So it's made with flat Earth angle measurements then. So it's flat. Every part and process of Earth measurement in this instance is flat. Telling me that, no, elevation angles to Polaris are an arc. No, they're angles. Like on screen. Any more? Because we're going to round out shortly. Been on live for about an hour-ish.
It's literally what you said. All that just to deceive people, because none of that is practical in any way. You do all that just to measure it flat and then use it as flat, navigate it, cross it flat, all that. But you've done all that to turn it into a ball somehow mathematically? It's ridiculous. What are you doing that for? Oh, to convince everyone that there's mathematics for the ball. Okay, that works.
Indeedy. Right, well, anybody want to give any Christmas cheer out to the audience, given that they won't have a live show till well after Christmas now?
Happy Christmas, everyone.
Is that it? You miserable lot. Well, there will be an after show for you to wish people Christmas welfare, or whatever the words are. But with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
Called you was to get a memorable moment in Antarctica, which made you part of it. Got it?
You talking to me? Did you hear the super chats? They were giving you Christmas cheer from the live stream super chats.
Yeah, we heard you say that. I was saying telling that to chocolate. Merry happy.
Very happy to you too. Everyone's really happy in the live stream chat. Isn't that cute? Everyone wishing everyone well. Happy days. Did anyone else catch the X thing earlier today?
I didn't even know you had it. When was this?
This morning. 2 or 3 hours ago.
So was it available
X
to
thing?
us?
Well, it's available to people who are tuning into X. I don't really know how it works, actually, Neil. So I'm going to say, yeah, it was.
Oh, so we would have had to go to X to get on. I got you.
I recorded it, so I didn't get, obviously, their full live stream. Oh, I got a PayPal from Vlad. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your family from Vlad. And his family, and he lists their names, but I'm not going to.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you
Mush.
definitely built a nice community here.
Where's he here? Thanks, Mush.
Yeah, you're welcome, brother man. You and everyone in this.
Speaking of which, it probably won't be a really extended after show today. That and everyone's a bit down in the mouth. Not as chatty as I thought they would have been. But on the other hand, it could just be that everyone's got things going on, right? Wrapping presents, drinking eggnog.
Well, my family just came down here from New York the other day. It took them 19 hours to get here. So they got here like Friday night, like really late. But they left this morning at 3:30. That's horrible. I mean, geez, just for a couple of days.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Which I believe that these GPS, these systems, they are made to take you, they give you detours. And this detour took them totally out of the way. And I believe they do that to make you buy more gas and pay more tolls.
All a big conspiracy, Neil. As I take a Christmas tree shot so I can make a thumbnail with it.
That's the other thing, the Christians that are condemning other Christians for putting a Christmas tree up. Oh my gosh. Really, you want to be Scrooge, you go ahead and be a Scrooge. I almost fell for that. And I was miserable. That's pagan. It comes from, what's that thing? Something.
That's an alien.
Yeah, that's an alien. And, you don't even know what it's about. Even says it in Jeremiah, one of the Old Testaments. But that's not talking about a Christmas tree. I don't think. It does sound like it though, because as you cut it down, you bring it in your house, you deck it with silver and gold.
Yeah, they'd be correct. But it's, for me, it's the sentiment, right? On Christmas Day, regardless of it being completely the wrong date and having hijacked a tradition in a different country that people were celebrating anyway, you're like, okay, but what does it mean to me?
Exactly. When I did a little study on it, it comes from Germany, and they picked the evergreen because it represents everlasting life. Like they never die; they stay alive through the whole winter. Not like all other trees that shed their leaves. So that's why they picked that tree and a few other reasons. But yeah, I've always had a Christmas tree.
Yeah, and they smell really nice if they're real.
No, Nathan. God is against it. Why do you think real trees go on fire?
I don't know, Neil.
Yeah, that's what somebody said. I said, well, probably because they didn't put water in it and it got dry and they left the lights on. No, God judged them. I'm like, I don't know what God you serve.
You know what I wanted for Christmas? Proof of curvature. Disappointed again.
Heartbreaking.
Still looking for curvature.
There's me wanting a Lamborghini and you're wanting such, humble things, chocolate.
Hey, Nathan, when you do watch Red One, there's a scene I think you're gonna like with a car. The way it goes down in the movie. You're gonna love that scene.
Is that movie good?
I think it's outstanding. I think they totally came out of left field with the plot. The whole outlook you have on Santa Claus, how he achieves, what he achieves, the way they did it was great. And guess how they kidnapped him? They put a hole in the dome.
Okay.
The dome, Nathan.
Interesting. Why is there a dome again?
That's where Santa Claus is. They cut through it with this certain tool. And the Rock he's an elf, ELF. I forgot what it stands for. It's a protector or something. But I'm telling you, you're gonna like it. Watch it.
All right.
I did invite everyone to come today. I said I will do a show for certain today. So whether or not we get a bunch of people coming in after the fact, I'd have thought they'd have joined by now, though, Neil. So it might end up being a really short after show.
Well, I was glad Brian was in Ballbusters and he was having a little dialogue with you. I'm glad that you're okay.
Yeah. The fortunate thing about FED is if you ever fall out, it's normally on topic. Very rarely is it something personal, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I had conversations with Brian. I told him, I said, I know Nathan thinks the world of you, no matter how things go on the show for the show's purposes. I know how he feels about you.
Sorry, I was just queuing up my violin music. It wasn't there quick enough. Sorry.
You always got to ruin it, Nathan. Tell a man how you feel about him. You love him.
A thumbnail, actually, Neil. Yeah, Brian's ace. I think it's fair that I put a Christmas tree in today's thumbnail. We were talking about Christmas fair a bit, weren't we?
Have a Christmas tree in every thumbnail that you do this week, even though this is the last one.
Gotta throw some guns in there too.
Fully snobby. Boom.
Mary, pow. Mary Explodless.
I'm just going to call it Christmas greetings.
I still think somebody should make a video with the Jerry Maguire scene, but instead of him saying, "Show me the money," screaming, "Where's the guns?"
Please come to Antarctica. There ain't no guns yet.
Right, it's too slow. I'm going to round out. You're only getting 2 hours today. Sorry.
Thanks, T-Buck.
It's your fault. Right, another massive, huge, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting me up on PayPal and Ko-Fi and all that good stuff. Have a great Christmas. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.